So for 13, we have x squared, x minus 8 over x times x minus 8. The first step is to figure out where the denominator equals 0. We're not allowed to plug in those for this because then we get something that's undefined, something that doesn't have any meaning. So the question is, what makes the bottom 0? And the way that we can figure that out is by taking everything on the bottom and set it equal to 0 and solve. This is already factored, and when you have stuff that's already factored equal to 0, you set each piece equal to 0. So x minus 8 equals 0, add 8, bless you, x equals 8, x equals 0. So at the very end, because I don't want the bottom to equal 0, I have to state my restrictions. X is not equal to 0, and x is not equal to 8. If I allow those, then the bottom will become 0. Whenever I simplify this, I'm still not allowed to plug those ones in. I always get these restrictions from the original. So that's the first part. What makes the bottom 0? Figure that out right away. Then, the second step is to factor top and bottom. It's already factored for you. And then the third is to cancel or reduce. You would reduce coefficients. You cancel any terms that are the same. One way that some people find a little bit more understandable is instead of x squared, they write x times x, and then x minus 8 over just x times x minus 8. You could use exponent rules, or you can write it out like this. Maybe that makes more sense to some people. And now I'm going to, because I didn't have to factor, I'm going to cancel or reduce the x minus 8 and the x minus 8 cancel out. The x and the x cancel out, leaving just one regular x. And that's it. So this whole thing simplifies to just x, but I then have to state my restrictions. X not equal to 0 or 8. So if I plug in any other number, if I plug in 5 here, then that's fine. It's not 0 or 8. I get out 5. It's the most basic that you could, most basic expression that you could have. If I plug in 5 here and go through all this, I'll still get out 5. I could test that. 5 squared would be 25. This is just a test, but this would be 25. And then times 5 minus 8 is negative 3. And then 5 times negative 3. This would be negative 75 divided by negative 15. If you divided that, you're going to get a positive 5. Do I need to show that? I'm going to show that real quick. Does this is not going to work. Oh, it does work. 75, you can't see that, divided by 15 gives you 5, and negative divided by negative is a positive. So if I plug in 5 here, I get 5. If I plug in 5 here, I get 5. If I plug in 0 here, I get 0 over 0, which is undefined. It doesn't make sense. So I'm not allowed to plug in 0 here. Although I would get something out, but to make these the same, I'd have to state the restrictions. So that's it for that one.